I would just do a quick live video here, see if anyone hops on. Um, a lot of you that watch my channel know that I was taking kind of a grief vacation over Thanksgiving because I was just trying to get out of Dodge and do something different for Thanksgiving since my daughter passed away. Um, so yeah, I decided to take my boys on vacation to upstate New York. We went to the Adirondack Mountains and stayed at this really cute cabin that was right on a lake. The cabin itself was adorable. I loved it. It had a big stone fireplace. Um, and just very like rustic, which is my vibe. So I love that a lot. I had some things planned, but it was kind of like a loosey goosey, like not an over planned vacation. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about how it went. So everything I think was planned pretty well, but I forgot about the fact that I have teenagers and teenagers kind of suck. So can anyone else relate? I don't know. Comment if you have teenagers and you can relate to what I'm saying. It was literally like every single thing that I planned was wrong. Um, they were fine with the place, except because it was like an old cabin, the walls were like paper thin. So you could hear everything that everyone else did through the walls. And teenagers are like freaking vampires. So, they would stay up until like all hours of the night and I'd be trying to sleep and I could hear everything that they did. So that was kind of annoying. But yeah, other than the place though, like everything I wanted to do was just lame. Like my 17-year-old, he just was miserable, totally miserable about everything that we did. And I don't know why. Like, why are teenagers like this? I have no idea. I think they were just annoyed. Like my older son, Max, he was awesome, but I think was like a little upset that he couldn't be home with his friends that were home from college. Um, but I mean, he still didn't do anything too terrible. But man, my 17-year-old was not a happy camper. The nice thing about teenagers is that they sleep in really long. So I had like these awesome stretches in the morning where I would get up early and I'd start a fire and I'd make myself my coffee and I would just like drink my coffee sitting by the fire and I would work on, replying back to YouTube comments or I was working on my book too. If you don't know, I'm writing a book. So that was awesome. I got in like a really good writing time and I'm sitting there like doing this, just chilling by the fire. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I could get used to this. This is good. This is I'm getting excited for that future where I'm gonna be able to do that kind of stuff and be on my own because I've never really been on my own before. I got married pretty young and was with my first husband through high school. So yeah, I haven't really had that alone time. So like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be all right with the with the alone time, just doing like the writing and the grief coaching and that kind of stuff. Once I retire from teaching, so that's the goal, and that part was good. Um, just kind of that affirmation that I think I'm really gonna enjoy that. But yeah, the rest of it, God, just he just didn't want to do anything. Everything I'd planned was totally lame. We went to Lake George and most of the stuff was closed because it was um, kind of the off season there. It's between like the warmer stuff that you can do and then a lot of those towns in the Adirondacks have like a big winter um, following where stuff opens back up over the winter for the skiers and stuff like that. But being there in November was kind of like there was a lot of stuff that was closed, so that kind of stunk. But I just like going to the little towns and like looking in the shops and things like that. But teenage boys, they were not having it. And so I tried to find things that were fun for them. Like we went to the movies and we went to a hibachi restaurant and I was trying, but man, it was just everything was wrong. And at one point, my 17-year-old was like, "Why don't we just stay home? Like, why do we have to come here if we're just gonna do the same stuff here that we do at home?" I'm like, "Oh, man." But anyway, so that was that. Trying to think what we did that was kind of interesting. We went to Lake Placid, um, and actually dropped off the 17-year-old. He wanted to fish, and it's like friggin' it's like 30 degrees. Like, I'm not gonna catch any fish, but he insisted that he wanted to fish. So I found a fishing spot for him and dropped his ass off and left him. And then my other son and I went and we walked around the town of Lake Placid and did all the shops and that kind of stuff. And um, I had lunch there and just let the other one fish because he was miserable about everything. And yeah, we did the normal Thanksgiving dinner. I took all the stuff that I traditionally make for Thanksgiving and I made Thanksgiving dinner for us, but honestly, that was weird. It was just weird. You can't outrun grief. Like, you can't escape it, really. So I made the meal and we sat around the table, but it was just off. Like, you could tell everybody was kind of off. And we didn't really do anything specifically to kind of like honor my daughter, but but you could feel that absence. It was just palpable, completely palpable. She honestly was like the life and light and heart of our family. So without her there, it was just quiet. She was always the one who was bubbly and was keeping everybody going and asking everybody questions and talking and just talking, talking, talking. And with her not there, it's like, you know, th- we just kind of looked around at each other like, yeah, this just isn't right. Just But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the new normal and we have to figure it out. It was just weird. Um, and it was hard. Like that morning, I was already kind of struggling because that morning we had pancakes or waffles for breakfast and it had come up how my daughter says syrup instead of syrup and it was just a random thing that like hit me and I was like, "Syrup." And I was like, "Oh, man, like, that's what Libby said." And I hadn't thought about that since she died. And for some reason, like, the syrup thing popped in my head, and it just stayed in my head. It was like I mean, I don't know if you've ever had any I'm sure you've had stuff like that happen if you lost someone you love where you just remember something weird and little about them, and it just is like, oh, like, I don't know, it just kinda set that mood for the day. We tried to go hiking, um, and that was nice, like, great views. It was just sort of like, bleh, like, I don't know, again, just missing her. Like, her absence is just it's so noticeable with everything, and especially for me as a mom, like, I don't know, I know the boys notice it, but for me as Libby's mom, like, I know she would have been with me doing everything. Like, she loved to hike, she always ran out front, she was always, like, yelling and talking and getting excited about stuff that she saw, and during the meal, she'd be the talker, and she and I would talk if the boys were talking about video games or stuff that I, don't know what the hell they're talking about. Libs and I would talk, and when I'm cooking, she'd be sitting on the counter, like chatting my ear off. And if we'd be walking through the cute little town, she would be holding my hand, and giving me hugs and looking in the shops with me, like every time I went in a little shop, that's what I kept thinking. Like, instead of looking for me, I was just pointing out, like, I bet Libby would have wanted that, or that would have been the sweatshirt that she picked, or she would have asked me to get this or that. And and yeah, it simultaneously makes me smile, but also is sad. It's heartbreaking. It's that kind of hole that will never be filled. You're always going to think about what she would have done and what she would have liked and how she would have reacted. And because she was so positive and bubbly and reacts so positively to everything, you're just missing that, especially when it's like counterbalanced by moody, grumpy teenage boys. So yeah, I didn't outrun my grief this Thanksgiving, unfortunately, but you know what? I survived, and made it through. And on the very long car ride back to my house, I was thinking a lot about just this next season coming up. Because I was thinking, normally, like right after Thanksgiving, I get out all the holiday decorations and stuff like that. And then it was just that, oh, like, what do I do with all of her holiday stuff? And thinking I want to put some holiday stuff at her memorial site. And so this whole new season starts of, the Christmas season and missing her again through all of that. But gonna get through it. And anyone else that is out there watching this, if you're going through anything similar, I am sending you love and virtual hugs because it sucks and it's hard. And yeah. Anyway, okay, that was enough of me rambling. I just wanted to update because some people had asked me how my trip with the boys went. So that was it. I survived. I need a vacation from my vacation. I had to go back to work this morning. I was like, oh, but made it through and first Thanksgiving down. So, all right. I will catch you guys later. Have a good evening. Sending love. Bye.